Oh, new. Thank you for the subscription. It caught me right at the start as I was start to stream, so I'll still open up with the all right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome. Welcome to a game. This is a ladder matchup on the NetEase servers between 120 and Cainiao. I hope I'm saying that right. I think this is the first time I'm actually casting a game with Cainiao as we are looking at 120 spawning as the Red Undead. Undead versus Orc in this 1v1 matchup. Things are already getting underway. Gotta say thanks to the Back to WarCraft guys. They replaced my hoodie. I had gotten a hoodie years and years ago, and well, it was just misprinted by whoever made the hoodie. So just doing a little shout out. Thanks. If you guys don't know who the Back to Warcraft guys are, I'd be surprised if you were watching this particular video, as things are well underway already. Okay, so what is really going down in this 1v1 matchup? We are looking over here on the bottom right hand side of the map as Cainiao is spawning as the blue orc. Meanwhile, over here on the top left, we are looking at 120 spawning as the red undead. Is there a replay glitch error fixed, or is it still buggy? It is still buggy. There is a problem sometimes where buildings show up on the minimap, but it is not actually fixed. That is the issue. It has been a long-standing issue and a personal annoyance of mine for many, many years. But it doesn't look like it was addressed. I thought it was addressed in the previous patch. It looked like one of the replays that I had cast were fixed, and then, well, it wasn't. So not quite sure what to say or what to do about that. It may be an underlying issue in the replays that were never really addressed, and it's probably really old since it is really old, and probably even in earlier patches of the game, so that does end up becoming a problem. All right, it is going to be Spirit Wolves and a Farseer making its way out, and this is mainly to really combat this Crypt Lord strategy that a lot of undead players have been going for. Early on, the Crypt Lord having access to beetles and also impale allows the Crypt Lord to really surround units early on and deal a large amount of damage. By surrounding those units, dealing large amounts of damage, a lot of things can be had, but the Farseer is already well underway trying to get a little bit of harassment, and Peon even joining in on the fight as the beetles are joining in here, and you can take a look at just how much damage is being had. More beetles will be popping up out of the ground. That is the downside. As you're going to take a look at, well, over 6 summoned units already out on this battlefield. Yes, they're not dealing nearly as, well, it's actually 8 summoned units, 6 only for one side, as now we're looking at 120 already up to, well, it looks like 8, as 5 units are trying to surround that Farseer, while the carry-on beetle is still, where the Crypt Lord is still doing a large amount of damage. More damage to be had here. Spirit Wolves trying to chase again. The ghouls are now going to go ahead and fight as well, as we're looking at more skeletal minions joining in on the fight. Farseer bringing in a lot of harassment here. Skeletal minions are falling down, but how long can he really hope to stay here as he barely breaks that squeeze right there? All right, ghouls are now making their way back once more. Carry-on beetles continuing to chase again and again. As we look, a tech to tier 2 most likely underway, as we are getting up that Voodoo Lounge, that lone grunt Farseer. No, sorry, not grunts. It is going to be headhunters, as the headhunters are much better at dealing all of that damage in a range. And, well, focus fire matters much more when your opponent has gone wide on units. Ghouls now making their way back again. Farseer looking to put in a little bit of pressure, as we're looking at these headhunters trying to shift and trying to find a way to get in some damage. Hasn't been able to do exactly that yet, as we see the ritual dagger being used by 120 pretty effectively to get in, well, to get in some of that, or get some of that damage back off. Low hit point headhunters purposely backing away. Farseer does not have any real items whatsoever, as we see a sacrificial scroll being used for that blight, resummoning of the Spirit Wolves, and that may be the last set of Spirit Wolves being summoned during this harassment, which will then come to an end. 120 knows that all he really needs to do is just constantly, or just eat through these Spirit Wolves, and then all of a sudden the army seems much weaker. Ghoul now back on blight. It doesn't look like a Ziggurat is being trained as of yet, though, as we are looking at triple headhunters replacing that last unit there. All right, that Spirit Wolf trying to deny any sort of experience onto that Crypt Lord as it runs all the way back, and in comes the headhunter, purposely aggroing those creeps from the far side. Resummoning the Spirit Wolves. There you go, 75 or just enough mana to go in for that harassment again, as we're going to be looking at Ziggurats getting in some damage now. All right, in comes Inner Fire. A lot of Inner Fire across multiple creeps as damage is getting added back up. This could be a little bit of a problem. Farseer still here, coming in with the harass, taking down a beetle as the Farseer is at level 1. Level 2 finally for that Crypt Lord, but I believe the Impale is not going to end up happening as all the units push back there. Meanwhile, during that time, I believe the Ziggurat was taken out. And, well, a little bit of a loss there by 120. Just in time to catch me. Yes, I just started streaming, I would say about 3 or 5, 6 minutes ago. That's how far we are into the game. This is still game number 1. Back across on the other side here, Farseer going to perhaps make its way down, sitting at level 2, picking up a Circlet of Nobility. All right, a little bit of range damage to be had right there. Rogue Wizard will get taken down pretty quick. There's 42 experience, Gloves of Haste, as we're looking at the Apprentice Wizards perhaps get focused off as well. This mass headhunter strategy and massed range tier 1 has become significantly more common as of the later patches, or I should call at least a patch 1.5 or tier 1.5. And as odd as that was, well, Night Elves and Undead have been doing it for quite some time. Crypt Fiends have been always very, very powerful, but the Headhunters and the Riflemen, before their damage upgrades, seem to just fall off a little bit. I said this many years ago. It seems strange that the Undead were able to go Crypt Fiends, Obsidian Statues, and Destroyers, and that was a very powerful combination, but Rifle casters just didn't seem to be able to catch up with that same style many years ago. Now that Riflemen have been boosted up in strength, firing a little bit faster, their damage now seems to be a bit more on par. Farseer looking to clear out this creep camp here. Tauren Chieftain already gets up to level 2. Tauren Chieftain really wanting to perhaps put his foot down and finish off some of these units. Meanwhile, Crypt Lord is already sitting at level 3, making his way towards level 4 as the Haunted Gold Mine is already up and operational. We are looking at a Necropolis trying to upgrade to Halls of the Dead, as this Necropolis is now done and should be training up extra Acolytes for 120. Back down to the south here, Tauren Chieftain sitting at level 2, Farseer sitting at level 3. Mass Headhunters, are we going into, well, we are going into the annoyance that the Carrion Beetles are able to do. Perhaps Carrion Beetles need to only have access to Burrow while they're on Blight, or maybe once they get to the level 2 variety. And even then, I believe that these are already the level 2 variety, 330 hit points, able to get in a good bit of damage. There's a Stomp right there, and, well, we're going to see those units getting finished off pretty quickly, as there goes 2 Beetles once more. Back on this side here, this guy is just regenerating his hit points. There is a ward here. All right, so the ward is right there. I don't know why. If there is a ward right there, well, that guy just dies as more beetles are being summoned. All right, a couple of easy units getting taken down here. How many wards? There goes another beetle, as we see a Cloak of Shadows picked up by the Tauren Chieftain. Even if it is not a useful item, that is still a 50 gold or 100 gold swing, as it goes from 50 gold from one player to 50 gold to another, not actually getting finished off or not being destroyed, as there is still the Ritual Dagger that still has another charge to be used. All right, Dark Ranger as the second hero coming in from 120. So if you thought that there wasn't enough summoned units out onto the field, well, Dark Ranger is going to make up for that, as we are going into a slaughterhouse as well. I don't see any sign of necromancers, so it's not going to be that many skeletons, just a handful coming in from that Dark Ranger. All right, Dark Ranger making its rounds out again, trying to perhaps finish off some more units. There's those black arrows finishing off as a Dark Minion now comes back out onto the field. Was a Ritual Dagger used on a ghoul. It looked like it. So yeah, the ritual dagger being used on a ghoul, and also a rejuvenation potion being a replenishment potion for the Crypt Lord to get rejuvenation as well. All right, curious to see this Dark Ranger strategy, how this is going to work out. Perhaps just trying to shut down that Tauren Chieftain with those stomps. Meanwhile, coming back on the far side here, there is a Spirit Lodge currently out, a Sentry Ward being placed down, perhaps to try and prevent any sort of crazy strategies, as a wall of Shaman are here, are ready to, well, stop these beetles in their tracks. All right, there goes 2 beetles already taken down right there, as, well, 120 realizes, you know what, I'm not going to be getting in any sort of harassment this game. Unit's going to be trying to come back around. Here we go. Tauren Chieftain going to be trying to come in from the back, but it's not going to get very far. There is a stomp trying to finish off a couple of units. There goes a couple of those assassins right there. As, well, Cainiao is doing an absolute great job in this matchup. All right. Alright, I realize that the names are kind of messed up. It's 120 is the undead, Cainiao is the orc, and that's all swapped right there. Hopefully that hasn't been confusing you. Level 3 skeleton even bigger than a grunt. Level 3 skeleton is bigger than a grunt? I thought a level 3 skeleton was bigger than a footman. I didn't know level 3 skeleton was bigger than a grunt. Well, if we see a level 5 Dark Ranger, we will have to keep track of that. Or level 3 skeleton I thought was bigger than a ghoul, was the strength. Bigger than a grunt would actually be very, very scary. Alright, Tome of Strength +2 being left behind by the Tauren Chieftain. Not quite sure why. Hopefully 50 hit points or a little bit of extra damage will not matter all that much, as the Carrion Beetle is making its way down. Now, there have been a couple, well, Witch Doctors out on the field and Sentry Wards. We are looking at Shamans trying to perhaps purge down these beetles here in just a moment. And, well, damage is now going to be coming across. In comes the Shaman. And are we going to get a couple of purges? There's 1, 2, well, come on, just get a couple more purges in, and then you finish off all of those beetles. There it goes. There goes another 2 right there. And this is just starting to feed the experience of the Tauren Chieftain and this Farseer. We are adding in a bestiary as well. This Spirit Lodge is going to be completed here in just a moment, and it is going to be able to have access to stasis traps as well. We are at Fortress. Did we pick up a tiny Great Hall? No, not needed, as the Great Hall is already done, and there is now double Sentry Wards coming in on coming to 120's 2 main ways in and out. Interesting point at this stage is that the Tauren Chieftain and the Farseer pretty much knows exactly where their opponent is, as we are looking at 1-0 upgrades for all of these Berserkers and 0-1 upgrades for all of the Orc units and their all of their Orc units. These wards will spot any beetles that try to make their way through. Oh, if you're talking about level 3 beetles, is that what you're talking about? Level 3 beetles, strong as level 3 grunts? I don't think their hit points are quite as high, but well, I'll have to keep track of how much damage those units are actually dealing. Alright, another Tome of Strength +2. This time it has been picked up as the units are making their way through. 1 skeletal minion also making their way back off to the north here. Alright, Mass Summons, not going to be that powerful of an ability. Kodo Beast out onto the field. Endurance Aura and War Song Battle Drums. We are getting the increased war drums damage increase, so that damage is going to be even that much higher, as the Shaman going to be benefiting quite a bit as well. Faster movement speed, faster attack speed, increased damage, as this, well, mainly ranged army, where is it going to try and travel to? More Carrion Beetles, 330 hit points, 15 to 18 damage, and, well, you're going to see these Carrion Beetles try to escape away. Are they going to be able to burrow in time? Well, Shaman could have just gotten a purge off. Nope, as that beetle looks to back up again. It looks like, it looks like Orc players have really just found a way to deal with the harassment. It has been an endless game of of Crypt Lords and harassment now, as we are in fact going to Necromancers. And perhaps will we be seeing meat wagons? Yes, we are. This is going to be a Necro wagon strategy, and this is going to be a problem. Purge is effective at taking down single large units, and 4 summons. Good at taking down water elementals, lava spawns, things of that nature. When you then try to go well for a massive, large number, wide group of units, such as well, carry-on beetles, you know, skeletal minions that are being trained up by the necromancers and that dark ranger, you will just simply run out of mana. We're looking at nearly 80 supply on both sides. Army sizes are about the same. And this is going to be absolutely key here as we are getting level 2 weapon upgrades for the orc army. All right, level 2 weapon upgrades, War Mill. We are going to be seeing these berserkers dealing that much more damage as the watchtowers are getting constructed, and now adding in a shadow hunter as well. Spirit Wolf using is going to try and engage here. There is critical strike here, but you're going to see these necromancers finish off these spirit wolves pretty quickly. There goes one, there goes another. I believe, gets to level 2 off of that fight. We are also looking at Unholy Frenzy as well, as the units are going to be trying to engage here. All right, Tauren Chieftain, is he going to get lined up? Are we going to see a stomp? There's a major impale across multiple lines here as damage and experience coming across. Are we going to perhaps be seeing a Hex? Tauren Chieftain puts his foot down, but no Lightning Shield on that Tauren Chieftain. I would have expected a Lightning Shield as the units are now engaging back and forth. All right, low hit point Crypt Fiend trying to back up. There's a bit of a heal there. There's a stomp, but a Crypt Fiend able to bounce away. All right, more units coming in from the back as well as we see us, Whirlwind, Cyclone picking up that Crypt Lord. More battles coming through. Kodo Beast giving in major damage bonus, as well as the Berserkers are in the back with a lot of damage too. All right, both sides, Tauren Chieftain putting down his foot, trying to finish off multiple units. No Lightning Shield. I really think that was the downside here, as we don't see any destroyers. Shadow Hunter now sitting at level 2. Tauren Chieftain making his way to the back. There it is, gets up to level 5, but now low on mana. Will he be able to finish everything off? Crypt Lord is in a little bit of trouble. Should be using a potion of lesser invulnerability here in just a moment. Gets up to level 5 as we see a major impale. 54 supply compared to 71 as well. 120 is coming in with a stronger army. Cainiao is coming in with a stronger army. 120 now down to 54. All right, Tauren Chieftain continue to push its way through, low on mana, as we are looking at all of these skeletal minions right here. Level 3 Spirit Wolves making their way through. Tauren Chieftain could be in a bit of trouble, as could get focused down here, as Destroyers are now joining in on the fight. Destroyers could easily start devouring magic, but there are enough Headhunters to make a problem, as 120's Crypt Lord gets taken down. All right, Crypt Lord is taken down. Tauren Chieftain now looking to back up again, but things are just going from bad to worse here as the Tauren Chieftain getting in a little bit more mana. Kodo Beast trying to retreat back. It has a Crypt Fiend in the belly, as a couple Obsidian statues could get taken down pretty quickly as well. The Shaman could easily just purge down Chain Lightning, trying to finish off more units. Tauren Chieftain is chasing after that Crypt Fiend, trying to get around, as that one Necromancer is just stalling up everything right there. Crypt Lord is now back out onto the field. Are we going to see death right there? There is, the damage reduction, minus 23 damage. Tauren Chieftain dives in a little bit too far. Scroll of Town Portal transferred and used in time, as the Farseer should really be focusing on down that low hit point Crypt Fiend. Unit was able to back away. Everything does teleport back. Shadow Hunter in that fight went from level 1 to level 3. All right. Undead back up to 70 supply. Orc down to 60. So Undead rebuilding his army rather quickly, and is looking pretty strong at this point and stage in the game. Tauren Chieftain got off some major stomps, but was it enough? That is the question. Could have used a little bit of extra experience trying to get to level 6. Is, absolutely key on that Tauren Chieftain, as he's able to dive in, throw down a stomp, and then pretty much sacrifice himself to get back in this game. We are looking at Mastery Witch Doctors, though, as Healing Ward is being used by all of these units. And I would say Healing Wards make it heal the same amount, make it heal faster, and reduce the cooldown, or reduce the duration of that Healing Ward. I don't know if that was actually used in the last patch, and that's why Healing Wards have become a bit more popular, as Healing Wards are often in battle already destroyed and taken out so quickly. Back off to the north here, we do see a Sentry Ward keeping track of the expansions on both sides. we know that it is one base per location, or as the main gold mines are going to be mining out in about a minute and a half. Expansions have about 10 minutes of mining left, as well as we're looking at perhaps the bottom left hand side. Is the Farseer going to be setting up a tiny Great Hall? Yes, it will. All right. Kodo Beast out on the field. Peons going to make their way out. Perhaps setting up a couple of towers would be useful, and useful to offer a bit of protection, as those carrion beetles often enjoy, well, uninterrupted access to all of those peons. All right, making their way back out. There you go. Great Hall is now done. More berserkers joining in on the battle here. Upgrades are looking at, well, there we go. Going into the Arcanite ranged weapons will be 3-0 upgrades on these berserkers, adding in the Kodo Beast damage as well, dealing, well, large amounts of damage per attack. Here we are coming in from the other side here. Necromancers, we are looking at triple obsidian statues. The Cryptlord does also have an Orb of Corruption as the units are about to engage. There's a stasis trap, and here we go. There is the engagement. Berserkers are going, as we see a chain lightning followed by a stomp, dealing so much damage across the board. Tauren Chieftain is in that frontline spot. Tauren Chieftain should be throwing down another stomp here in just a second. Where is it? There goes another stomp. There goes another chain lightning, finishing off more and more units. Healing wave bouncing to keep that Tauren Chieftain alive. However, the Cryptlord does have Locust Swarm, and that is dealing terrible damage as well. Tauren Chieftain could be in trouble, down to 205 hit points. Healing Ward. There's a stasis trap, as stunning all of those units right there, but nothing to really deal damage. As all of a sudden Cainiao is at a 52 supply compared to 70. All of the, well, the ranged skeletal minions dealing so much damage in that front line. Silence on the Tauren Chieftain. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. There is that stomp, stunning multiple units, and now that Tauren Chieftain is, well, at level 6. Reincarnation is going to be available. There's another stomp. You cannot ignore the Tauren Chieftain. The Tauren Chieftain has just been pushing in so much damage as the Shadow Hunter gets up to level 4. Tauren Chieftain is still a force to be reckoned with. Could get another stomp off. There it goes, adding in more damage as well. 45 supply compared to 70. Tauren Chieftain is going to be able to carry this team on its backs. That is the question to be had, as it's trying to go after some of those other units again. All right, well, Resurrection should be coming in momentarily. The transition to the meat wagons. Tauren Chieftain making its way back over. It is crippled. It may actually get taken down. There's the silence. Tauren Chieftain is in trouble. Is it able to back away? Shadow Hunter has no mana, no way to keep it alive, as the unit is now trying to back up. There is a stomp right there, trying to create some separation and some distance. 2 level 6 heroes retreating back now, as this expansion, well, will easily just get shut down. Dark Ranger is at level 3. Cryptlord is at level 6, going up against a 664. You would normally think that, well, the 664 hero team is currently winning, but with 120 sitting at over or about 80 supply, with meat wagons and a massive army of necromancers and all of those skeletal minions, that is going to be the downside here. No access to spirit walkers, and with no access to spirit walkers, well, all of a sudden that necromancer army is just absolutely scary. Also, add in the fact that the meat wagons have 3-0 upgrades, meaning that they can actually destroy buildings quickly. That's often been the downside or the problem of the undead army. They had no way of really dealing damage to buildings and really putting pressure. That is no longer the case. All right. Farseer, Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain wants to get in a couple of good stomps. Silence is going to make that difficult, as the army is making their way through. The longer he waits, the longer the Orc army waits, the more time 120 will have access to Locust Swarm. The Cryptlord's ultimate ability, and that should be the end of that. Tauren Chieftain still has about 2 minutes of cooldown here. Are we going to see the silence? There's the silence. No stomp available. Stomp now being placed down and able to stun off a lot more units. Needs to pick up a potion of healing. Does not have access to potion of healing. Healing wave, keeping that Tauren Chieftain alive a little bit, as another stomp goes across multiple units. Chain Lightning trying to bounce around again. Perhaps level 3 Chain Lightning would have been better than level 3 Spirit Wolves, as the Spirit Wolves have been devoured by destroyers sometimes, as the Necromancer army, followed by skeletal minions, still pushing in so much damage. All right, carry on beetles. the pretty much as strong as ghouls making their ways through right now. Burrow continuing in with all of that damage. There is a couple of well, timed life coming to an end. Tauren Chieftain wants to make its presence known. Is it going to be able to get a stomp? Yes. Going after some of those units, going after those necromancers, getting impaled though, picked up, dropped back down, and it looks like the Tauren Chieftain will end up falling, giving well, 120 the victory. A beautiful, beautiful game here. Overall hero score, a massive difference. The Orc army winning in that category with hero experience getting rather high. And this is just one of those strange games where the final score, doesn't tell enough of the story. Is Locust Swarm an AoE around the Crypt Lord? Yes, it is. A Locust Swarm, I would say, for all of those who are familiar with StarCraft 2, it essentially makes the Crypt Lord a carrier. It sends locusts out from its body. Those locusts attack things randomly. It deals damage, and I believe it actually regenerates some of the hit points of the Crypt Lord. I will have to double check, but that is what I thought that particular ultimate ability did. Overall experience, you can see level 6 Farseer, level 6 Tauren Chieftain, and add in even a level 4 Shadow Hunter, but it still wasn't enough. Perhaps there was a little bit too much of hero focus and hero use combination by Kai. I'll call him Kai right now. And by Kai, he was able to use his Farseer, Tauren Chieftain, and Shadow Hunter extremely well, got a lot of experience, but ended up losing a lot of his army at the same time. Much of that experience was gained from taking out summoned units, and even though they provide experience, it doesn't really cost your opponent any gold. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.